you know, when they asked me back this year, which I don't know why they keep asking me back, but happy to come. They said, well, what are you going to do for your entrance? And I was like, no. It's like, the entrance is not a thing. Like, we just come up with it at, like, the very last minute. And then I said, what is the insurance like here? And how much weight can those rigs support? Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me come down from the ceiling like Pink. So, we did the best we could do. I guess I have to work now. Okay, so dessert. Keeping with our Italian theme, we're doing a Budino, which is funny because this one's a little bit more like a mousse. But the great thing about food, and especially pastry, is you can just make up words. Like a Budino could be a cake, or sometimes it's a pudding. Today it's a mousse. You can't do that with a steak. Like, a steak is a steak. You can't call a steak halibut. But dessert, it's great. We just make words up. It's true. If you ever look at a dessert menu. So we are going to start by making this like white chocolate Negroni pudding. So Negroni, like one of my favorite cocktails, such a great, we're getting into spring finally. So it's a great summertime beverage. So I said, why not eat it for dessert? So I have heavy cream, gin, Campari, and vermouth, sweet vermouth. And literally, yes, there is a cocktail in your dessert. Figure you guys are nicely lubricated already, like 17 glasses of wine. And now I give you a cocktail. Have a good night. Don't call me in the morning. I mean, it's food and wine. Anything can happen. Or as last night, I called it wine and wine because I drank like 3 bottles of rosé. It's fine. And here I am in front of you all. So, Campari, vermouth, gin. We are going to bring this up to a simmer. We're going to figure out how to turn this on. Every year, if you've been here, every year you know that I can't work this induction burner. Good times. Egg yolks. This is separate the egg, back and forth. Oops, just kidding. I don't want the whites. I want the yolks. All right. We're doing great. I'm so happy you guys are all here. I promise I know what I'm doing. So our egg yolks are in here. We're bringing this just up to a simmer. We will temper them in. I'm sure you guys have seen that, where you take a little bit of the hot liquid, you pour it into the yolk. That basically just prevents it from scrambling, because omelets, while delicious for breakfast, are not so nice for dessert. So you just take a little bit of your warm liquid right into those yolks. You can whisk, you can use the spatula, whatever. Return this to the heat. And this is going to happen really quickly. So a nice low speed. You can see it's already thickened. Boom, done, great. I like to strain any little tiny, you can see that little coagulation there. Ooh, big words. He's making dessert and he's using big words. If you overcook the egg. So this custard base, by the way, you could turn this into ice cream. You could turn this into anything. This is basically a pudding at this phase. So we cooked our anglaise. We have it over our chocolate. The heat of this is going to melt the chocolate. Eventually, we'll get there. By the way, silent auction. Has everyone bid? Because it's closing. Okay, cool, great. Please give generously. Honestly, I love silent auctions. I love doing, like, every time I do a charity event, I bid on every silent auction item, especially if it's booze, by the way, because I get to restock my bar, and it's a tax write-off. Like, win-win. Like, this is amazing. True story. And you help a charity. There you go. So the mousse part of this, you guys are all like, he is a horrible person. Yes, I am. So for the mousse component, I'm going to start whipping some heavy cream. I like to whip my cream on like a medium speed. If you go too high, A, it sloshes everywhere, but B, the end product is irregular in its bubble structure. Again, I'm talking fancy now, but pastry chefs, we're kind of like fickle and scientific. It's not all rompers and onesies and catwalks. Although I wish it were. So my other favorite gadget, the hand blender, it's good for a lot more than just soup. It is a great pastry tool because it emulsifies really well. Big word, emulsify. Think about chocolate mayonnaise, all right? So it blends everything together, get all that liquid and all that fat friendly. This is going to be a mess. All right, well, kind of just like my life. Cool. So I love cocktail desserts because for me, dessert, it's not all about sugar. It's actually the opposite. For me, dessert is about balance. So that could be salt. It could be acid in the form of citrus or vinegar or booze. It's a great way to cut that sweetness, right? And especially coming off of like, how many courses did you guys have? Like 8, whatever. The last thing you want to do is eat this like massive sugar bomb. So, it's nice to like kind of slowly come down. It's like training wheels. That's true. By the way, Valrhona chocolate, preferred brand, love it. That's what we're using, the Valrhona Ivoire, which is their white chocolate. Literally my favorite. I love white chocolate, by the way. I know I'm like slightly a garbage person for saying that. You're like, but you're a fancy chef. Like, you're supposed to love dark chocolate. I don't. It's sugar and fat. Like, come on, guys. But like as a kid, I used to like go to the candy store and like I would buy the white chocolate bark and like just eat it straight. I was also a very large child too. True story. The Bar Mitzvah album is somewhere out there, buried in my parents' basement. If you're lucky, maybe I'll post something on Instagram. So in the real world, I'd let this cool down for a little bit before folding in the cream. You don't want, when you're making a chocolate-based mousse, you don't want it to be too cold because all that fat seizes up. You want it to still be a little bit like room temperature. And honestly, like I love a digital thermometer, but also like you have 10 digital thermometers on the ends of your hands. So body temperature is what? Like 98 degrees. A great boy band, by the way. FYI. Throwing that back. Where are they now? So you can test the temperature of anything, probably not boiling water, but you can do it based on your relationship to your body heat. So if you feel it, if you can feel that it's warm, it means it's above 98. If it feels cold or like neutral, then it's below. So there you go. Imparting knowledge. I like to learn you guys something every year. By the way, it is also open bar at my demo tomorrow morning. I have, yes, that's right, 10 a.m., bright and early, drunk baking, where we do some more stuff like this. Why not just start your day like that? Who knows? I might show up toasted. All right, so you're looking at this, you're like, oh my gosh, that doesn't look like mousse. That looks so runny. But honestly, this is kind of what you want mousse to look like before it sets. Because if it's like if you can make a mountain out of it, like it's going to be really gritty and grainy. So loose mousse is best. Ooh, I just came up with that. Loose mousse, yes. Let's get that. All right. So that's the Negroni base. And again, like pourable. And honestly, you guys have the recipe. You can make this with like any cocktail too. Like just substitute the amounts of the liquors with whatever. Rosé. It's rosé season. Like, why not? Rosé and Negroni season, my favorite season. Is Stuart just leaving like all of his empty glasses up here? What the heck is going on? Must be nice to host, all right? Like, well, you like get like 4 costume changes and all the cocktails. I want to host next year, you know? Yeah. All right. All right, Palm Desert Food and Wine, you heard that. My agents will be calling you. My demands are great. My travel rider, it's crazy. The basket of puppies, etc. So, yeah, no green M&Ms. Pick that out. I really am a monster. So this will set in about 4 hours. And then I garnished it with Marcona Almond Crumble. That was kind of little gravelly stuff. Marcona Almonds, fancy. Thank you to U.S. Foods for letting me use the expensive stuff. I think I sent over my ingredient list, and they were like, good thing we have a sponsor. I'm not cheap, all right? Trashy, but not cheap. Marcona Almond Crumble, and then blood oranges, which are, well, it's California. Never mind. I'm from the East Coast. I have to explain why the oranges are that color normally. You guys know. You guys grow them. Blood oranges that I just threw a little bit of turbinado, the sugar in the raw, on. I like that because it actually leaves a little bit of crunchy on it, too. The texture is great. So again, with dessert, it's all about balance. It's all about textures. And a little bit of booze. Woo. Thank you.